Good morning. It's early in the morning on a Sunday, and I just wanted to do a quick garden tour. Well, may not be so quick, but I just wanted to go ahead and do another update since I haven't done one in a while. And I did promise them from time to time. My mom's been asking, and so if you're just along for the journey, hope you enjoy it. So I'm going to turn this around and just go ahead and show you what I've been working on lately. So welcome to the garden, and I'm going to just start right here and sort of give you an update on this project since it has been delayed many times, and my new goal is to get both of these, including the second one, finished. I had started making that bed the way I made all the other beds, and then we decided to do a raised bed, which is why it sort of already got sticks in it. I may end up moving those sticks over here, and then we can work on that one. But this is sort of what I'm doing, is I've been stapling in some fabric. It's probably not a traditional garden bed, but this is how I'm going to do it. And I am going to put the sticks at the bottom and fill up this older, this dirt that I had dug out that's in these big piles in my garden right now. And I'm going to fill a lot of the sticks in with this dirt, and then the top layer will be like better dirt from the store. So the garden has been, I don't know, doing a lot of interesting things since the last video I took. I will say that my last video was quite a while ago, and partly because I videoed one and my phone ran out of space. So it stopped in the middle of my video. After I was in 12 minutes into it, it stopped working. So I thought I moved it over and I was just going to finish the video and put them together, but I apparently deleted it before I thought I moved it over to the storage device. So I lost my video completely, and I honestly just never made it back out to do another video. So here we are. I guess I'll start on this side. So I don't remember where I was at. I'm pretty sure I did show you guys zucchinis. So these are the 2 zucchini plants. They are doing really well. And I have some zucchini growing, although I do think I'm going to come out and spray it with some calcium. I also have a bunch of squash bugs. So one of my goals today is to try and come out later this evening and get rid of some of those squash bugs. And you'll remember my excitement over watermelons. They are growing. I do have watermelons growing. As you can see, that one there. There's a different, oops, I'm not showing you. Where is it? There's one there. Although I think that's 2 different kinds of watermelon. Pretty sure these are the smaller personal size, and that might be a bigger one, but I'm not 100% sure. There's another one over there, and I do have a fairly larger one right here. It's the size of my hand almost. So it is growing, and it's producing, which is the best thing ever. I'm kind of excited about the watermelons this year. So the banana peppers are doing amazing. I've already cut so many banana peppers off this whole section over here. I just come out every evening or every so often and just trim off several, so it'll keep producing. And the bell peppers, wow, this is all bell pepper down on this section, and I've been cutting them off as they're medium sized, but here's one little one, so I do cut them off as they're more of a medium sized. I've had a few started rotting off the ends, so I get kind of afraid, but here's a picture of some starts. And then my jalapenos on this end are sort of doing okay. I've actually got some red ones where they're turning red. And there's some babies right there. You can kind of see. So I usually cut them off pretty quick. Actually thought these were jalapeno plants, but apparently these were not jalapenos. I've got some more, the chili poblano peppers down on this section. There's my shadow. And these are my other chili poblano pepper plants. they're doing really well. I did take a string and try to string them up, and I actually cut some of them off. I think maybe it's just because they weren't really producing very much because I stopped. I'd actually never cut them off, any of the first ones. So this year's my tomatoes are going to be, I mean, it is only August, and then last September was like the hottest September ever. So very possibly the tomatoes will be just fine, but I did start all of my tomatoes up on the porch in cups, and then they sat there for so long before I planted them out here. I think they did get, there's a term for it when they sit in a pot too long, so when you go to move them outside, the roots, they don't want to grow anymore. It's like root shock or something like that is what it's called. But I kind of did that to these tomatoes, all my poor tomatoes this year, so it's possible the tomatoes aren't really going to do very much, and that's fine. For me, it was more trying to grow stuff and sort of, start learning. And this year, that's sort of what this garden's about. Next year, I think the tomatoes are going to be amazing because I'm actually going to have a place for them to go immediately. There's not going to be sitting around waiting on the patio. So anyways, this used to be, if you remember, that yellow squash plant that I had here. I had the melons and the table acorn squash. So I did rip it all out, and that's where I am at right now. So I did have tomatoes. I'm trying to grow some eggplants because I did hear they do really well in the summer, although that poor one I think has been eaten up by bugs. And these are peanuts, actually, Spanish peanuts. So we'll see if that grows. I mean, supposedly they grow really well here. So I'm trying that out as a test. And let's see, I put some more tomatoes on this where my cucumbers were. The cucumbers pretty much died out, so I went ahead and did tomatoes here. Really hoping that these do actually produce, because these are the little yellow, like pear-shaped ones. We absolutely love those, so these two are actually that. I have a Roma tomato here and a Valencia tomato plant here, and I did not label all of my tomato plants properly, so I don't know what everything is exactly. This tomato plant I magically put right here is doing really well, and it's got a lot of tiny buds, but I'm not sure if it's going to produce. I have been spanking it, is the terminology my group calls spanking the tomato plant. So I think you just, spank it to try to pollinate the flowers, because even though I have pollinators, because of that patch up there, that's like all yellow, like wildflowers, there's a bunch of bees over there. I don't know if they're all making it over here. So I've been spanking my tomatoes to see if I can get them to work. So my beans really just, this year the beans just terrible, but I'm hoping in the springtime the beans will survive. And I'm not a big bean fan anyway, so I really didn't care, but it was fun trying to grow them. I have a couple more eggplants, and this is okra, which only I guess there's two right there, one really big one. It actually fell over, so I tied it to the post. I think I need to add more soil to that corner down there. Yeah, so like these beans were doing stuff, and then they just flat out died. I don't know if it's bugs or something. And I thought this was a bean plant, but as it started growing, I realized it had the little berries. And then I was thinking about, what is this? And I think maybe a bird brought a seed over and it planted it for me. And this is nightshade, which is a poison. So I pulled that one up so it can dry out and I can go burn it. And back up here, I need to add more dirt, but these are these two right here are my potatoes. These are sweet potatoes, actually, and my asparagus, and I've been showing you guys for a while. I tried bringing some asparagus that I was growing in. This is the only one that looks like it's even alive at this point. I planted maybe 3. Here's a little tiny piece of one. They just don't seem to want to transplant. I grow them inside, I get them going, and then I bring them out and they die. So I'm not really sure why. I might have to just plant them straight to the ground. I have a few more tomatoes that I had started on the porch, so I'm hoping these produce. They are right next to these plants that I said are being pollinated. There's bees all over them, if you can see that. I'm really hoping that they're pollinating these plants for me. My basil's doing really good right there. And then there's a couple more tomatoes I've kind of strung up. These are really small ones again. Let's see. So my cucamelon's pretty much dead. I'm so sad. I don't know what happened, but it was doing really good, and then the next day it wasn't. I really don't know what to do about these cucamelons. I don't know if you can see that. I have like one green streak, but all the leaves, they all died out. The whole other section died out. It was doing so well. It was climbing. It was green. It had leaves. I was like so glad my cucamelon, but no. Apparently my cucamelon's not going to grow this year, so I'm really, really sad about that. It could be an ant issue because there's a lot of red ants around this section. As you can see, this little pile right here. I have tried putting ant killer around the outside of this area, but they are inside it as well, so it could be ants. I'm not really sure. I do have a few tomato plants right here that I planted. 1, 2, 3 on the outside over there. And then this was that voluntary squash. I've already taken off a couple table acorns off of it, and it's not really producing much at this point. It looks like it's trying to, but the squash bugs went crazy. So I think I'm gonna just rip it off soon because it was just an extra plant I didn't really care about. But these are sunflowers I tried planting here, trying to get more pollination going, and I don't know, like they looked really wilty, and it has been 100 degrees out. I did come water them, you know, give them fertilizer and stuff. I don't know. It might survive. It looks like it's trying to bud, but the leaves are gone, so who knows. And then again, more tomatoes. Like I said, I went crazy with tomatoes. I had a bunch up on the front porch, and they were just doing really good. But anyways, I decided to bring them out. So I have just a bunch of more tomato varieties. I'm not really sure. And if I get a few tomatoes off of them this year, I'll be very happy. So we'll see. So they actually look like they're growing, which is great. Like that one, of course, is growing. I planted it a little bit sooner than the others. This one here. So it's pretty big. And then this one I also planted a little sooner than all the other ones. So it's actually grown up pretty much. So I think they'll actually produce, which is amazing. And there's my 3 dahlias that I have 1, 2, 3. Hoping that they actually get bigger and have flowers. I love dahlia plants. I went to a dahlia farm, I guess that you would call it, where it was like a U-pick farm. I did that out on Sobeys Island near Portland, Oregon when we lived there. That was so fun, and you could pick dahlias. Just pay for the ones you cut. I did plant a watermelon here, so it's actually doing really well. It's got shade, and there's some sunflowers. There's one right here. It's doing really well right here. And 2. You can see the leaves though. The grasshoppers or the bugs, they come and just eat through these leaves like the hungry caterpillar. And so that's fun. I'm going to show you a few more things. So this is kind of when I say I start things inside. I do start them inside in these cups. I actually start them in little starter trays, and then I move them to the cups and let them get bigger. And then I go plant them outside, usually. I didn't get that with the tomatoes. The tomatoes I ended up putting in bigger pots, so they weren't in these little cups anymore. And they got really, really big on the porch, and that's why I said I think that they're a little shocked by being moved at this point. But these are my pumpkins, some of the pumpkin plants that I started inside. I actually had a whole tray started, and I brought out a tray, and they all died. Almost all died. Well, pretty much all of the smaller ones died. So this is my new area I'm working on. And I worked on it, and the grass is already grown up, so I'm kind of frustrated about that. I ran out of material because I let Michael use some of it, and then I had to go buy more. So I put a big old stop on my plan. So I'm going to have to go through probably and try and rip out as much of that grass again. But each of these little sections is going to be a plant. And then I already have 2 down here of pumpkins. And I'll just show you this. And I kind of did this way because I'm trying it out, something different than what I did in the other section, the other garden area. Since we do have all this land, you know, the only issue is watering. And so we're working on that this weekend, maybe, or this week sometime. So these two are doing really well. I gave them a good amount of water yesterday. It was 105 yesterday, so they looked pretty bad. But they're doing okay. I think this is going to be a good place. So my idea for this portion of the garden is really going to be pumpkins at this time of year. So that way we have pumpkins for Halloween, and we have pumpkins for, you know, for Thanksgiving and making pumpkin pie and things like that. So that's really, which I have already done before. I love making homemade pumpkin pie. So within real pumpkin. Anyways, so, you know, that is my goal, and is to have a bunch of pumpkins, and then for like in the spring and stuff, we can actually do the watermelons and melons and cantaloupes and all of that stuff instead over here. Because you remember all my videos from before, how it just literally took out that whole section. It was growing through the grass and I couldn't mow it or anything. It was a pain. So I started, you know, put on my thinking cap and came up with this idea based on some people. So I'll give you a better view. So it's just at the end of my garden and across the driveway. And I think it's in a fairly good spot because it does get a lot of sun right there. So I think it'll be a good spot overall. So we're going to add some PVC pipe, and we're going to have to dig out from the house a little tiny like trench almost. I guess we're going to go all the way down here, and then from here all the way across over there. And my husband said maybe we'll go ahead and just put a spigot down here so we can add more water down here, and then do another spigot on the other side as well. And I'm just going to put a dripper hose over underneath that tarp, right next to the roots. That's sort of where I'm at with that. So that's that garden section for the day. I could show you Michael's. I haven't shown you these. These are the thornless blackberries. This one's doing really well, actually. If you can see it. It's growing really well. And this is the other one, which barely survived. However, this little branch is looking really healthy, so I think it might survive. But there are ants all over it, so yeah, there is that. Anyways, I will show you a few other things that I have going on, but I'm going to have to pause this one and start in a different one. I'll see you in a minute. So I'm just adding this to the garden tour because this is sort of a project we're also going to be working on slowly. And, you know, I'll show it to you now, and then you can kind of see it as it progresses. It's probably going to take us a long time, though, so don't expect it to just happen. But this planter box was on the side of the house, and one thing that Michael and I don't want is plants up against the house very much, because it causes the bugs to come up against the house. In essence, more bugs next to your house. So or in the house itself. So that's one thing. And we do live in the country, so it sounds crazy, but we are literally taking this out, and we're going to just try to angle it all the way down. But what we're going to do is actually make it into sections of like little paths that go between. Now, my blueberries did not survive this year, most likely due to the type of dirt that is here, and I just didn't deal with it too much. So these are my blueberries. They're barely surviving this year. Next year, maybe we can work a little more on that. But the idea anyways is to create more of a slope coming down, and then and have more blueberry lines going, like maybe another one there. And perhaps, I don't know if we'll do another one closer to the house because we really don't want anything too close. But we're going to make like more of concrete paver walks going between each line. And before we do that, we are working on, and just ignore the fact that this area is completely messed up, because this is where my patio is, where I said that I had my tomatoes growing. So it's been a mess. I haven't cleaned it up since I moved stuff. Oh, and there's my kitties. These are our kittens. That's Sebastian. He's like, what's going on? So anyways, these are some of the bricks we've pulled out, and eventually, you know, we use them for things as we need them, but for now it just sits here. So we have been putting in gutters on this side of the house, and there is a gutter section. It's kind of hard to see, but it comes through under the driveway, and it comes out like I don't know if you can see my shadow. It comes out like right here. Say hi, Sebastian. Hi, Cole. You guys coming to check out what I'm pointing at? So anyways, the I'll try to get out of my shadow here. So it comes out under the driveway right here. And so we're going to tap into that because we actually did that downspout over there. And we're going to do another one here. But the downspout goes down in the front of the porch because we had some really puddles going on like crazy. So we spent a good time doing a ditch, Michael did. And we added some pipes in the ground to bring the water down, and then it comes and flows underneath here and comes out. So you can kind of see, I don't know if you could tell, but there's a little bit of a divot here because the water does flow. So we're going to dig it out and put in some better pipes, some underground like PVC type pipes. What are you doing? Oh, you're going to go to the bathroom right there. And so I'm like, what is he doing? So the pipes are going to come, and then we're going to have it just sort of split. So one is going to go over to the blueberries. And yes, it goes uphill a little bit. So it's going to be, Michael said, we'll just dig it so it goes down. So it's going to split, go that way, and then most likely loop around it so it'll go out to the whatever the next row is. So when we get water, it'll automatically water all this side. And the same thing for the grapes on this side. So we'll have it also split and go through a trench like I started sort of digging out a trench. So the pipe will go through the trench and then around and to the other side. And then like I said, we're going to do pavers because the grass just really overgrows and tries to take over our sections. The kittens, they're so fun. These kittens, I call them about junior hires. And yes, they're inside a tomato plant I planted there. What are you doing, buddy? Say hi. This is Sebastian. He's the only boy out of all 5 kittens we figured out. The rest are girls. Oh, and these are the devil. These are terrible. When I see these things, I'm like picking them because I don't want them to fully turn into more seeds. They're terrible. So I'm going to pick these suckers while I see them. So anyways, this tomato plant I planted here, and the grass kind of grew up and I haven't come and weeded around it, but I need to attach it to the post or something so it's out of the grass and I can mow through it. So anyways, the same thing with the grapes, like I said, and our grapes are doing okay. This one got attacked by insects, and I sprayed it with some Dawn dish soap type stuff. And this one's actually doing really good. It's like growing like all the way up. And so these are supposed to be just standard like purple and green grapes. So we can actually have grapes to eat, clusters of grapes. So that's where we're at. The pecan tree is right here also. I guess I'll show you that. This is our pecan tree. It's really big. I don't know. I know it's got pecans because they were here when we moved in. And I'm going to walk you over this way across the path. This is our brush pile. Do you love it? This is going to eventually, over the winter months, we're going to open up our burn barrels. And we're going to start burning it slowly. So as it dies out for the winter, all the green grasses and everything will actually die back. Then we can just start pulling out sticks and just burning constantly. So this whole thing will be clear hopefully by next year. And we'll be able to just come in with the lawnmower and mow it. But this year we just have too many things going on to deal with. And now it's summer. So this is our orange tree, basically. It's a mandarin tree. Small, but I got one started in this section. Nice big section where the dogs, well, one of my dogs poops, but it's a nice big section. And then up here, I'll walk you around. This is like the longer of the garden videos. I've never posted one this long, so hopefully it goes. Our big trees we have. I don't know if people have realized. So we have these huge trees. I'm very afraid that it's gonna, I don't know, the windstorm sometimes. I'm actually afraid that these trees will go, and there's one of my daughters coming out to see what I'm doing, probably. I'm afraid the trees will hit the house someday, but what, I don't know. Over here is the lemon tree, or bush, whatever you want to call it. It's actually doing really well. I don't know that we'll have lemons this year, but we will. Well, hi, Mia. You following me? I absolutely love having these kittens. I'm sure we're going to end up with about 1 billion more eventually. So this whole side is got all these beautiful flowers, wildflowers, but it's great. I just love it. And then this is our grapefruit tree. It's more Michael's, so I don't like grapefruits, but we bought it with a grapefruit on it. And so we hope this will actually get bigger and survive. And so that's what I wanted to show you on this side, but that's going to be it for now. Hello, good morning to you. Good morning. So, where's Mia's going through the fence? Where are you going, Mia? Where are you going, Mia? You gonna come back? Where are you gonna hide in the bushes? Are you looking for bugs? Anyways. Oh, she just hopped out. Just when I moved the camera. It's so funny. Were you looking for bugs? She's so pretty. Well, thank you for watching.